We've had a few clients come to us recently about products that are nearing end of life. What does that mean, products nearing end of life? Well, they've got software that was developed 5, 10, 15 years ago. That software is now no longer supported. The teams are no longer around. They moved on to other projects. They've got new versions of their product. But these businesses have not migrated because the software was working and they didn't have to worry about it. It was out of sight, out of mind because it was operational. But it's not necessarily just the software that becomes out of date, it's also hardware. So we've had some other clients that are running on servers that are no longer supported. Their end of life either is approaching or it's already happened from the original provider. The software is so old that they can't use new devices and put their apps on them. Or they're relying on very clunky software that now seems like it's on a house of cards, not when it was built, because they've got no support. There's no one there that knows it. There's no one there that can develop for it. So this is an interesting position, and I think you're probably going to end up seeing a lot more of this because, it's 2024. We've been building apps, since people have been making apps since the 80s. It wasn't really until we had proper internet after the .com booms in the last 20 years, really. But for things to start becoming a problem, it's going to be those things that were launched and deployed in 2000 to 2010, maybe 12, 14 at the most, where you can start getting these really old things where the apps first took off, everyone started building apps. If they weren't updated because they just kept running, you're going to start running into this problem. So what does this mean for those organizations that have this end-of-life software or something's too old and they're looking for developers or supporters or people to look after things? Well, it means you're going to be in for potentially a bit of pain because it's not going to be something that you can just take that code and go, all right, you're at a version from 2009. I can upgrade you to 2024 version. Not possible. At times, you might be able to go incrementally, version by version, all the way through from 9 till 24 and do it. That's going to introduce a lot of pain regardless. You also then have the ability to jump major versions. That's really not probably recommended either, simply because of how these things are built. Technology has changed so much in the last 4 years, let alone the last 15 to 20 years. You have these systems in place, you have these workflows that have been operating. You also have a lot of these little niggles and underlying manual workflows and fixes that you're implementing because you have these constraints in that software. Well, this is now your opportunity to improve that workflow and deliver software that's going to actually drive your business forward now, not be held back because of the limitations that the software is imposing, even though it's doing everything that it needs to do. So how does that help you? Well, you can engage a consultant, work with them, and go, all right, this is the software, you've got all the screens, you've got an exact analog of something you can copy, but then how do we move forward from that? Well, let's talk about all the manual fixes. What workarounds are happening? What are you doing by hand? Where are you printing information? Where are you doing other things like emails and transferring files yourself? Then you actually deliver a new solution that will take all of that into account with the 15 years of learnings that have been built over that existing software and deliver a new version that will take your business to the next step forward. And now things are a lot more cloud-based where they used to be. So you can go onto these other servers. But then what's one thing you need to learn from that? Well, you can't avoid businesses shutting down or developers moving on, but you can have an arrangement for maintenance and get developers or teams to work with you to get those products continually updated, staying abreast of changes that are happening so that you don't fall into this problem in 5 years' time again, where, all right, we've got something built, but it's out of date and they're in trouble. Incremental updates, look at it every quarter, there's updates happening, there's packages that are used constantly so we don't have to build things from scratch. Apple does a major update every year. Android does an update every year. Windows does its own updates. You can ignore the hardware because you can push that aside to cloud providers or mobile phones. But if you're building modern software, being up to date frequently, you can just upgrade phones. But keep in mind, you need a maintenance schedule in mind, especially if it's operational software and it's core to you delivering your value to your customers. Because that's what you're really going to need, is to keep something operational. Because if that goes down, what's going to happen to your business? What are you going to do tomorrow if it all stops working? And we recently had that last year. Client came in, took them through a dev ready, understood what they had to do, what the problems were. Their software, a major feature, just stopped working. Couldn't figure it out. We had a plan B backup solution for them, was ready to roll that out in case that date at when things were meant to have stopped. Luckily it didn't. We're able to get a brand new solution up in 6 months, and they are miles ahead of where they were with that old software because there's no limitations. They can make changes, they can make improvements and take advantage of how this software will deliver the outcomes and the impacts that they need to deliver their value to their customers. They have backups now, they have redundancy. They don't have to worry about it going down. They just have to worry about Optus internet outages or CrowdStrike problems because of software that they're running that is core to their business and essential to their operation. So what can you do? Reach out, speak to a consultant, understand what you need to do, how you want to improve your software, what direction you want to take your business in, and put a plan together to deliver software that'll get you to that right spot.